If you've been dreaming of travel, this is your year. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Jessica Ufuma and I'm a travel creator and traveler who loves to travel the world, experience new cultures, and share with you how you can do it too. If this is your first time finding me online, hey, make sure that you click that subscribe button if you want to see all things travel. I'm going to be sharing all my recommendations, tips, hacks, and advice to help you live your best travel life. Alright, in today's video, I'm going to be sharing how you can make 2023 your year of travel. So if you've been like, hey girl, listen, I need to travel this year, I need to hit my travel goals this year, I'm tired of just sitting on my ass, not going anywhere, not knowing anything other than my hometown, or I just really want to see more of the world this year, I want to hit some of those bucket list items that I've been putting off for so long, well, this video is going to be for you because I'm going to be spilling the tea on how you can make this year your year of travel. So get comfortable, grab a favorite drink. I have my water here because we're drinking water this year. I also have my notepad here, my iPad, where I've put down all the things that I want to share with you so I don't miss out anything. So make sure that you get comfortable and let's get into it. Let's just get into it, okay? So first things first, if you want to travel this year, one thing that you need to sort out is your finances, okay? Your money. You gotta sort out your money. And it's so important because while travel can be done on a budget, travel still costs money and not everyone will be able to afford all the trips that they want to take, and that's okay. Sometimes you're in the season where you need to lay low, work hard, and do the things that you want to do eventually. But if you're someone who's just wondering, hey listen, I have a little bit of money to spare, but I want to make sure that I'm staying on budget, I want to go to places where my money can stretch a little bit more, well, it's time for you to start doubling up on your finances. One thing I advise people to do is to make sure that they're saving proactively, so you don't always have to wait until you have a trip in order to start saving. It's okay for you to say, hey, I'm gonna save every single month or every single time that I get paid. I'm going to save automatically into a specific account just for travel. Raise your hand if you have a travel savings account. So a travel fund or an account just specifically for travel. I do. And that really helps me travel every single year. Okay, I save money every time that I get something in. I save about 20% straight into that account, no questions asked, and it really helps me because I'm able to see my money grow and I know that, hey, everything that's in this account is for travel and I can afford to take the trips that I want to take. I'm all for having a balance, okay, so don't go into debt just so that you can see the world. I think travel is even more special and more meaningful when you do it guilt-free. You know that you can afford the trip and you take the trip. It's more enjoyable versus feeling some sort of financial anxiety over the trips and the choices that you're making. So if you don't already have a travel savings account just solely dedicated towards your trips, make sure you go open that one ASAP. And there's so many free accounts out there. I'm gonna put some recommendations in the description box, but there's so many accounts that are free. You don't even need to pay any fees, any account fees. Make sure that you're getting the most out of your money by getting high interest savings accounts, but just get your financial situation on check. If you have to get an extra job, maybe that side hustle that you've been putting zero effort in, maybe it's time to start to find ways to have multiple income streams so that you can have more money and more wiggle room in your budget to do more of the things that you love, like traveling. So make sure that you're prioritizing travel. This kind of ties back into financing your travels, but also just in general, if you want to make travel a part of your lifestyle, you kind of have to start acting like it, right? I remember when I was a student and I really wanted to travel, even though I had a very tiny budget, I started seeing things in comparison to travel. So for example, if I go into a store and I see a $300 pair of shoes and I'm like, oh my god, I really want these pair of shoes, I would be like, hey, do you want this pair of shoes or do you want a flight ticket to Bali or wherever it is, right? And start to prioritize travel through your actions, right? How are you putting travel above on your priority list? Do you want to eat out this month or do you want to travel? Sometimes you have to make those choices and those sacrifices, and the more you prioritize travel and put it at the top of your priority list this year, the more you will hit your travel goals this year. There's so many things that happen, there's so many priorities that are jumping at us every single day as adults, and if you don't pay attention or be mindful of the things that are being thrown at you, you'll find yourself just doing things on autopilot, even though that's not the real thing that you want to do. But I know you're watching this video because travel is something that you're thinking of very seriously and considering this year. So make sure that you're prioritizing travel through the actions that you take this year, and it will get you so far. You want to have a plan in place and have a solid plan in place for your year. It's not enough for you to say, hey, I want to travel more this year. The question is, what's your plan? What's the plan that you have in place in order to make it happen? So I love using this framework to know how to start my travel planning. Why, how, when, where, and who. Why, how, when, where, who. Why am I going to this country? Why? Am I going for a birthday? Do I want to go relax? Do I just want to enjoy the culture? Do I want to be adventurous? Why am I going? All right? Where am I going? And this is in no particular order, by the way. Where am I going? Where am I going? Am I going to a country in Africa, a country in Europe, a country in Asia? Where am I going? Am I going to a city close to home? Where am I going? The where you're going definitely affects your budget, the time that you go, all of those things. But why am I going? Where am I going? How am I getting there? Okay, am I going by plane? Am I driving? You can do a road trip, you can do a train. In fact, those are more sustainable options for you. Okay, nothing wrong with taking a train, nothing wrong with driving, right? So who, where, how, when. The when is very important. So when are you traveling to that country? Because not all months of the year will be suited to that country. So for example, in Thailand, maybe September is not the best time to go to Thailand because that's monsoon season and it's raining, and maybe you might not get the best possible experience. And the last one is who, right? Who am I going with? Am I going with friends, my spouse? Am I going alone? Am I doing this as a solo trip? So who are you going with? All of those 5 things and 5 pillars will really help you craft a very realistic, solid plan for the year. So visualizing travel, making it a part of your everyday consciousness, and also surrounding yourself with the people who have shared interests as you. It can be lonely if you have big travel dreams, especially if you're in a more traditional home where people don't really value travel. They don't understand the concept of travel. There are people who still believe that travel is a waste of money and no one should be traveling. If you're trying to travel this year, you don't want to be with those people. I mean, you can be with them, but don't stay too long with that mindset. You have to plug yourself into certain communities that support the vision that you have for yourself this year. There's so many travel communities. Find one and plug yourself in. Let it be in your realm of consciousness. Let it be something that you're seeing and interacting with every single time. Have those conversations so that it's at the top of your mind, so it stays top of mind for you this year. And you can also draw from people's experiences and learn from them as you craft your own travel plan for this year and as you eventually go on your trips this year. So make sure that you're surrounding yourself with like-minded people who understand the value of travel. Prepare and research. Let's talk about the preparation phase real quick. It's kind of like planning, but even more in depth is just preparing yourself for travel. It's like making way for travel in your life. If you know that you have a full-time job, for example, you need to start looking at your PTO, your pay time off, your vacation days that you have this year, and start saying, hey, I have 10 days of vacation. How am I going to allocate these days for my travels this year? Start preparing. Maybe you have you have children and you're like, hey, I want to go on a solo trip as a mom. Who's going to take care of my kids for me? So start preparing, start making your situation a bit more conducive for the life that you want to live. And your situation is going to be different depending on your personal situation and scenarios and all of those things. But start preparing, whether it's mentally, physically, through your situation, whatever it is that might present a stumbling block between you and the travel plans that you have this year. Make sure you start to work through those things so that when it's time to travel, it's a lot easier and you're not leaving things to last minute. But another thing is research. Okay, so not just preparing yourself in terms of your present circumstance and the things that are in your life, but also researching the place that you want to visit. Okay, researching your destination is very key. This can also fall into the planning phase, but this is a bit more deep work that you have to do. Okay, so what are the things that you need to do in that country? what is it like to travel to that country, when is the best time to go to that country, you know, what's the culture like in that country, what's the dress code like, what's the currency like, is the currency really high compared to my home currency, you know, what's the cost of living in that place, is it a really expensive place to travel to, or will my dollar go further in that country, what's the dress code like. Some countries you have to be fully dressed, you know, maybe like Saudi or, you know, Morocco or all of those countries, you have to be fully dressed. So it doesn't make sense for you to pack things that are not in alignment with their dress code. So you want to do some research to make sure that you're getting ready for the trips that you take and you're traveling well and you're not running into any issues as you travel. Last but not least is be okay to go alone. Okay, this year be okay to travel by yourself, because I'm sure a couple of you have waited and waited and waited for people to be ready in order for you to travel, and it just hasn't worked out. It takes a lot for travel plans to align, especially as adults. You know, the older you get, the more your schedules are just like all over the place. Like, it doesn't make them bad people, but it's just the reality of things that as adults, it takes a lot for us to commit to certain things, and that includes traveling. So be okay to travel by yourself this year. I know that solo travel can be very daunting, but trust me, it does not have to be. It does not have to be scary. You can do it, and be okay with traveling by yourself this year. If I waited for people to be ready to travel with me, I will go nowhere. And you shouldn't wait either, because your time is precious. Your time is precious, and you deserve to be doing the things that you genuinely want to be doing, and you deserve all the amazing experiences that you've been dreaming about. So if no one's coming with me, I'm going by myself. I'm going to do a video on solo travel. If it's already up, I will put the link somewhere, but I do have a ton of resources on my website. I have an ebook on solo travel. I have some free resources on my website that you can read and get more comfortable with solo traveling. I've done solo travel, and it's one of my favorite ways to travel. So make sure you're not scared to travel solo, because you've got this. Okay, so yeah, I hope these tips helped you. I hope that you're feeling more inspired, more ready, and more fired up to make those travel dreams come true this year. And I will be here to cheer you on along the way and make sure that I'm giving you all the travel recommendations to help you travel even better and live your best travel life. If you love this video, make sure that you hit this like button. I think hit the thumbs up. Yes, I'm still getting used to YouTube. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share this video with someone who needs to see it, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.